Good morning, traders. So how do we trade the DAX this morning? So I've still got the levels in from yesterday, and also got the megaphone formation that we are in. Now, the interesting thing to note is that sort of in the middle of the megaphone is the 200 moving average from the 4-hour. And you can see how price is just hovering around that 200 moving average. If you look at the 9 and 26 moving averages, you can see they're kind of flat, ever so slightly pointing to the upside. And we've also got a crossover of the oscillators down the bottom here. And we have a grouping pretty much on the Bollinger Band. Nothing really that tells me anything on the momentum index. Okay, so when if you look at a triangle consolidation, often when you are triangle consolidation sort of in the middle of the triangle, there's always an indication that there's confusion and indecision. And that's pretty much what you have now. We're sitting in the middle of this megaphone consolidation format on a 200 moving average. Yeah, buyers and sellers are kind of in limbo. They're pretty much confused as to which way we're going to take this market. I'm going to come right back down to the 30 minutes. So you had the gap up here, and you had a reasonably good trade to the upside yesterday morning if you took this. So you had pretty much almost 100-point trade to the upside. Okay. Now, one thing to notice is the 200 moving average is coming into play again. You can see how we broke through, test, bounced off, came back to test again, bounced off, came back to test, and we're either on it or the retest has failed and we're moving to the downside. I see a couple of significant patterns here. So there is the first one, which is pretty much a flat bottom triangle. And my next one is a wedge. Okay, so just points out the indecision again of what's going on. So I think for me, kind of a difficult one. So I can't really. To me, there's two patterns. So indecision. So pretty much indecision. When there's indecision, I like to just sit on the sidelines and wait for something to materialize. It's going to show something. So a bounce back down here to 12,270 would test this breakout, which would be a pretty good area to be long, but bear in mind that you do have a gap below. Okay, so that's the one breakout. I'm just going to use this line. There is an inside tail. Okay, let's use this line here. That's another inside tail. That's inside this one. Okay, and if I look even more to the left, there's an inside tail, which would then test these drop downs. And then ultimately what we have here is a gap close. Okay, so ideally I'd like to see price come all the way back down to this area for us to get long. Now whether that's going to happen or not, we're going to ascertain now from the daily. So let's just get rid of the noise. Okay, we do have a bit of a warning here. We did sell off. There's nothing really to read into this at the moment. We have ended up with an inside bar, and we're kind of in between these two moving averages. Okay, so the level to watch here is the low of yesterday. If you do break below the low of yesterday, that's going to push us further down. Okay, and then I would expect us to come down and sort of form a decent pullback, at which time we can get in for a swing trade. The other thing to bear in mind here, I'll probably take it from there. Just find a parallel. Okay, it's kind of parallel. So the other thing to bear in mind is this could be seen as a channel, a daily channel. Okay, so in saying that, see how this lines up with a gap close. So what you want to do is a drop below Friday's low is going to give us more downside. Okay, if we do pull back and we sort of hold somewhere around this area here, so in other words, close the gap and we hold it, and you see this trend line comes into play, and what we can do is just put this trend line in like that. I'll just take the previous two lows. So this all lines up in this 12 to 25 area. Okay, so that's kind of the area that I'm looking for longs. If we can get down here, I'll be looking for another long entry. I'm not really looking for a long at this side because I also see a head and shoulders here. So you've got a wedge, you've got a flat top triangle, you've got a topping pattern, head and shoulders. It's just too much confusion for me. So if we do, I'm looking for a pullback. Pullback comes down, consolidation, get in long with a stop. So if you can get in here, kind of have a 60-point stop loss below this low. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. If we do get a sell-off below 12,185, and I doubt we're going to get that today, but if it does happen this week, then yeah, then you can expect further downside and pretty much all the way down to, well, probably the Fibonacci would be the best way to do it. So 50% Fibonacci, then the 61.8, and then the 76.2. So if price sort of finds a base at any one of these levels, and you'll find the oscillators all lining up as well, and you'll want to see let's just use another level. So if you look to the left, you see this swing low. You can see how these levels all interact with the swing low, and the 50% also hovers around here. So it's a pretty good area to be long. Okay, so wait for that pullback and come down to here. But it could take a couple of days, or alternatively, it could pull all the way back down here. So a lot of indecision at the moment. And what I do see brewing, though, is a potential inverse head and shoulder. So here is a shoulder, here is the head. Now what I want to see is a pullback, and I want to see a higher low and come back to this level. And then that would be my neckline that I'd look to break. So I'll be looking to break this. Let's put a level in there. I'll be looking to break this 12,455 area. Okay. So yeah, so I'm afraid most of the markets are pretty much the same today. Lots of indecision, and not something that I want to trade, to be honest. So yeah, I'm sitting on the sidelines for most of this morning, and we'll have a look again at the US Open. But these consolidation patterns are concerning, and the last thing I want to do here is just, so that's my neckline there. So it's a 60-point move down, 83-point move down. Okay, so there is a fairly good chance that this gap closes. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. But there's a fairly good chance at the moment. And what I see, this is a rounding topping pattern. So just want to do one last thing. Okay, and you can see of this move down, we have pulled back to 61.8 and the sellers have stepped in. So there's a fairly good chance that we move a little bit lower, but I don't expect us to drop below the lows of Friday. Okay, if we do, then we're in for a lot more downside. I'm expecting us to sort of come and close a gap, form a base, at which point we can look for a long. Okay, so that's kind of my view on the DAX today. Pretty much wait and see. So not going to add much value to you if you're looking for a trade this morning. Sorry about that, but yeah, there's just way too much confusion here for me. So it's pointless trying to, might as well just toss a coin and play whichever direction the coin takes you. And I don't like doing that. So anyway, for me, it's wait and see, sit on my hands, and we'll wait for price to to give us an indication that we need to be long, and preferably on a bit of a deeper pullback. Anyway, guys, that's it for the DAX. Hope it helps, and catch up with you later. Enjoy your day. Cheers for now.